So we had very important discussion yesterday, right? We had very important discussion yesterday. We learned about some annotations. Spring provided few annotations, stereotype annotations, which are component, controller, rest controller, or service repository, rest repository configuration with combination of @p. So why we started with all these? In old approach, we used to create objects by configuring them into XML file. That is old style. But nowadays we are not using any XML based configurations. Every configuration we are doing through annotations only. And coding also simple with annotations. If we go through XML, lot of configurations, lot of confusions, and there is a chance of overwriting your code. Mostly common files only we will have XML files, such right. So to avoid that all problems, and a developer also need to spend good enough time to configure it carefully. He should do configurations. So Spring avoided that manual configuration stuff. They realized, many years Spring teams, and they see how people were using Spring framework, and they realized that why developer need to do configurations in XML file. Even we can do that automatically. Really developer need not to put any efforts there. As a developer, you need not to put any efforts there. It is easy to create objects without configuring them also. They realized that point, and they provided the stereotype annotations. And they are saying that if you have configurations, go with the configuration annotation. If you want to write CRUD operations, go with @repository annotation. For your business logic, go with @service annotation. For controller, @controller or @rest controller. Or for any miscellaneous or utility classes, go with component annotation. Bus. While writing these classes, if you can keep these annotations on top of them, that's enough to create objects. Just you need to mention from which package your IOC container should identify them. Generally, we maintain web package, business package, DAO package, utils package, as a given the package naming convention yesterday, right? So within that packages only, we will have our classes. So whichever is the common or root package, if you can pass that root package name here, bus. When you load this XML file, component scan with your base package name to IOC, IOC will start scanning this package. It will identify if your classes are mentioned stereotype annotations, and it will create objects for them. Literally, it will scan them and it will create objects for them. What is the benefit? Of course, as a developer, I don't need to do any XML configuration. Reducing configurations here, right? So almost they are reducing 50% of your burden. 50% of your burden got reduced here. Otherwise, you should go to XML. You should configure your beans. You should pass all the dependencies. Okay. So yesterday we understand this, and we had one question also. Okay, IOC creating objects, but how IOC will connect to them? In case of XML file, we understand that We can create objects and we can connect them. We can create objects and we can connect them using manual way of dependency injection. Like my student class is having dependency of address. This address dependency I have injected here using the reference. So manually I can able to inject here. I can able to inject here because I have a place here. I have a place to inject. Been manually configured so that I can use property tag, I can inject. And this bean also created here. This ID is available. I can pass that ID here. So everything is in my control here. Everything is in my control here. Now this bean creation itself, this entire bean tag itself I'm avoiding. So there is no way of property tag that you can configure in XML file. You given complete bean creation to Spring only. So you need not to configure any bean. Then where you will do the dependency injection? Spring saying don't do anything. Don't configure any bean, I'll create it. So if you create beans, where should I do my dependency injection? Or how should I do my dependency injection? For every use case, I'll write controller business DAO classes, controller service business classes, controller or business DAO classes. How can I connect to them? For every use case, for every form, I'll implement them. How I can connect to them? I should be able to connect to them as well, right? You taken control of my hands. You are creating objects. Earlier, I used to create objects, I used to connect them, but now you taken that responsibility. But how? I can tell you that connect them, right? So here you created some classes. Mayank created a controller, name A, service B, and a DAOC. Vasu created a controller, name is E, business class name is F, and DAO class name is G. Different class names you are using and you are writing controller business DAOs. How you can tell to container all your classes you created, container will create object. ABC classes, EFG classes, all classes objects container will create. How Mayank can say connect my A with B, B with C. How Vasu can say connect class E with F, F with G classes. How they can get that control. So that is the major thing here. When objects you created, you connected. When objects IOC creating, now responsibility who should take? IOC only should take care of it, right? But how, as a developer, you should mention to IOC. IOC should not take that responsibility and Vasu classes to Mayank and Mayank classes to Vasu, it should not inject. For whatever purpose I returned A class, B class, C class, for that purpose only they should work. IOC should not take decision, no, no, Vasu, you return class, but that is not suitable to you, I'll give it to Mayank. It should not do that. You implemented use case, so your classes only it should connect. For example, I created a class here, car, engine, fuel. I'm creating these classes and adding stereotypes on top of them. Stereotypes on top of them. Consider Mayank created them. His intention is he want to put fuel into engine, engine into car, and he want to execute this. Car will function with engine, engine will function with the fuel. So he added consider this is a controller. Okay, stereotype annotation controller service repository. And Vinod created within the same application. Many developers can work on the same application, right? So he creating some classes. He created a class, something Tesla. His use case is different. Same company making two types of cars. One is with engine, one is with motor. Engine and motor are different, right? Motor will function with the electricity, whereas engines will work with the fuel. Even I don't know until I read about electric cars. At the rate repository, pattern. So I'm asking IOC. See, IOC is telling to use these annotations. Mayank, you created a car engine fuel, right? Mention stereotypes. If your car is controller, mention controller annotation. If engine is service, put service annotation. If fuel is repository, put repository annotation. And finally, what it is telling, give your package name in XML file. So common package names only we will use com dot something RBU dot, we have child packages from there. So we given that package name in XML file and we are loading it into IOC. IOC will start creating objects. Which objects it will create? It will create fuel object, battery object, engine object, motor object, car object, Tesla object. All six objects it will create. If it is a manual object creation, you will create fuel and carefully you will pass fuel into engine. You will create engine and carefully you will pass it to car. Same way. You will create battery object, battery will connect to motor, motor you will connect to Tesla. If it is a manual way. But now IOC doing that. IOC creating objects, when you want to connect them, IOC only should connect. How we achieve it? That's where auto wiring will help you. Auto wiring, automatic connection, auto wiring, automatically it will connect them. Which means automatically it will do dependency injection. The concept auto wiring will help IOC to realize actually whose job is connecting them, developer job. But developers started using stereotypes, so IOC creating objects of them automatically. But who should connect them? That's again developer job only. But as objects are created by IOC, developer lose his control. He don't have any control here. He lost the control over the classes. So he can't connect them. Then developer should depend on IOC only for the dependency injection. See, here without developer configurations, IOC cannot inject. Without IOC, developer cannot perform dependency injection. Earlier he used to have control. Now he given control to IOC. But IOC don't know which one need to be injected. If it inject fuel to motor, motor to car, they don't function. If you inject or if you connect battery to engine, engine to Tesla, it won't function. So the right way of dependency injection is fuel to engine, engine to car only. How we can tell to IOC? That's where auto wiring will help. How? So my car class is having dependency of engine, so I need to create engine dependency here. Engine dependency here. Along with creating that dependency variable, you need to put at the rate auto wired. Very, 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 very important annotation. auto wired. Then after creation of this controller object, when you mention auto wired, right? Consider this car class object IOC creating. It will create car class object. Along with that, it will read your code, whatever code you have written inside your class. Auto wired is variable level or constructor level annotation. We will use inside the class only. So when it read your class, if it find any variable declaration with the auto wired, IOC will understand, okay, developer saying to me to inject engine object here. Now developer telling to me inject engine object here. Developer saying inject engine object here. As developer control I have taken from XML file. Developer can't able to inject anything from XML file. He is saying to me inject it automatically as you have control. Please inject this automatically. He is saying to me. IOC will understand that statement. Okay, he's asking me to inject engine object here. Okay, I'll take care. Mayank, I'll take care. Injection of engine object. When it find engine object here, when it find engine object here with the stereotype, it will create this engine object. But if it doesn't find any engine object here, let's say engine class you created, but you forget to configure this service annotation. We understand that without annotation, if you put any class, that class will not function. My car class is auto wired with engine, but there is no engine class available. IOC when it scan these classes, right, it will not find any engine class because you did not allowed any stereotype on top of this class. So what will happen here? Controller is having engine dependency. Developer saying please inject engine, and at the same time developer forget to configure service annotation or stereotype annotation on top of engine. So IOC obviously will not able to create engine object. Engine object it cannot able to create, so that it cannot able to perform dependency injection also here. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? Yeah. So engine object you mentioning, Mayank mentioning, please inject engine object, but Mayank himself forget to mention service annotation on top of engine. So first thing IOC need to do what? It should be able to create these objects, car, engine, fuel objects it should create. Then only it can able to perform auto wiring. So remember that whenever you auto wire something, whenever you ask a container to do automatic dependency injection of something here, remember that that object must be available. To make that object available, whatever the class you mentioned here within auto wire, right, must that class should have a stereotype annotation. Must that class should have stereotype annotation. Then only IOC will create object for it, and that object it can able to inject it. Now engine class is having dependency of fuel. Engine class is having dependency of fuel. You can auto wire it. Same story. Once after creation of engine object, it will understand, okay, Mayank mentioning engine is having fuel object dependency. Okay, Mayank, I'll take care. Engine will say, I'll take care of it. So now IOC will do what? For this use case, it will create fuel object, it will create engine object, it will create car object. Along with that, it will perform this dependency injection also. Fuel object it will pass to engine class, engine object it will pass to car class. So now all are connected. Now all are connected. Car can connect with engine, engine connect with the fuel. So your job is done. But who is doing this entire exercise? IOC is doing for you. You are just focusing on your coding. You are creating your classes with stereotypes, and whatever dependencies you have, you are mentioning with AutoWire, and you are writing your methods, whatever methods you require, post to get to for CRUD operations, delete or select, whatever methods. So as a developer, now you have less stress. Earlier we need to put more stress on us. We should configure them into XML file. Now I'm not doing that. I'm just focusing on my implementation. Fatafat, I'm writing a car class with controller annotation. Fatafat, I'm putting engine dependency with AutoWord and writing my methods. Public, something void, post method, delete method, then Fatafat engine methods, fuel methods. That's it. My job is done. I need not to visit XML file, do configurations, injections. I don't have that headache now. IOC is automated. Just a minute. Hello. Good morning. వెళ్ళాలి వెళ్ళొస్తా ఒక హాఫ్ అన్ అవర్ నేను కాల్ చేస్తా అప్పుడు బయలుదేరు. So as I'm using stereotype with auto wired, now IOC got full control. IOC will say, okay, okay, I will take care. You are clearly mentioning create objects and as well as connect to them. Okay, I'll take care both. IOC will say, I'll take care both. I'll create objects and I'll do injection also for you. I will do dependency injection also for you. So now for this Tesla car, motor you can mention with auto wired. So once after motor class object creation is done, it will inject it battery at the rate auto wired. So this battery also it will okay, auto wired here. So when it creates Tesla class object, it will find motor as a dependency because you mentioned auto wired, and it will check for that motor object which is available or not. Yes, motor object is available. It will create motor object and it will inject here. As well as motor is having battery dependency, it will check for battery object. Yes, battery object is available. It will create that object and inject here. So same story here also, it can able to create each object and it can able to connect them. Battery object it creates, it pass that to motor dependency, and motor object it creates, it pass to Tesla dependency. Tesla. So properly it able to do object creation and dependency injection. Very, 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 very important use case this is. Okay, if you can keep this example easy to remember, right? If you can remember this example, then your journey is very simple. Almost you achieved 60 to 70% of coding. Everyday coding this is. Depending on use case, you may write different logics, but this one right every day we used to write stereotypes autoword, stereotypes autoword, stereotype autoword. Do you guys understand, or do you want me to explain one more time? This is very, very important. Okay, easy to understand as well. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask. It is simple. So object creation and dependency injection both are performing by IOC automatically now. Both are performing automatically now. So now lot of burden removed from our head. Lot of money. Everything Spring is taking care. Your objects creation and dependency injection as well. Let's do this example. A simple example I'll do here. Stereotype with auto. Add your Spring dependencies. So I'll give you this example. Maybe this may irrelevant in real time, but to make you understand easily, I'll give you this example. Okay. So com dot rbu dot web. Just consider car like a web controller class, engine like a service class, fuel like a DO class. Okay. Let me start from DO. First, I am implementing car use case. Okay. Fuel is the main key entity. First, fuel with the repository. Fuel object created. Of course, it will create when we mention it, and this package is scanned automatically. It will create, and I'll put some methods here because I'll show you once after dependency injection performed, right? I will hit this class and I'll show you how this class will hit this class and this class will hit this class methods. I'll show you that flow. String real name control. So I have a fuel class. I want to connect this fuel class with engine, and engine want to call this method. End of the day, one class may want to call another class methods. This method I want to call from engine method. Okay, I'll create engine class here. In real time also, this is how I implement. First we will implement a DAO, repositories, then we will implement service, then we will implement controllers. The same way, like how I am showing you here, same way I will write code there also. Then immediately I used to put fuel dependency here with the auto wire. That's it. Engine object will be created. Then after that, this dependency injection also will be performed with auto wire. Okay. So from here in engine class, I have a method public void start engine something. From here, I want to call fuel method. If fuel successfully injected, then only I can able to call fuel method. Fuel dot print fuel name. So this method I want to call. That's the reason I auto-wired it here. Otherwise, why I should need to auto-wire here? I want to use this class methods, then only I should auto-wire. So my engine class is having start engine that is consuming fuel class method. That's why I auto-wired it. Now controller, which is my car class. Controller, immediately I'll auto-wire private engine engine with auto-wire. So from here, public void start car engine dot start engine. So when currents class start car I called, it will call engine class start engine method. Start engine method will call fuel name. So finally it will print fuel is equal to petrol. That is the expected output. Car will call engine, engine will call fuel. Or you may put output statements also here. Starting car, starting engine, and then it will print fuel name. So I successfully created three classes with the stereotypes and auto-word. What I should do, I just need to scan them and load it into my IOC container. Just create XML file, give the package name. For all of them, root package is com.rpu. Then load it into container. Try to run it. You will see all three objects created. Fuel object created, engine object created, currents object created. But whether they connected or not, if you want to see, call your methods of car. I'm getting my controller class object here. Now call start car and see. After these three objects created, I'm getting currents object and calling start car method. As soon as I started, click on start car, it is going and executing start car method. That is fine. From there, car method is calling engine. Engine method is calling fuel. So from here, the flow is going here, and from here, it is able to call engine class methods. Generally, this engine class object, if I create it here manually, then only it will be available. Engine equal to new engine. But I did not perform it. How I am getting this object? You are not doing it, and you need not to do it. The object is already created, and object is injected here. The created object. You need not to perform. This job is done by IOC container for you. It created object with the engine class stereotype. The stereotype you mentioned, so it created object. And you need not to assign this to variable because you auto-wired it. So whichever engine object created, that is already auto-wired here. So you need not to create it. So same way in engine class fuel also auto-wired here. You need not to create any object because fuel class also having stereotype. So finally, you would able to via IOC, you would able to create all these objects automatically. You would able to connect them as well. So I am done. That's it. I'm not doing any much configurations in XML. Everything we can achieve through annotations only. It is easy to achieve object creation and dependency injection as well. Are you guys clear? This is container, right? Container. So I want object out of container. Container creating many objects. Fuel object, engine object, car object. Something I want to get from my container. I'm asking container, give me a bean which is you created. I'm asking my container to provide me this Karen's bean. So it is providing it to you. Get bean method will help you to get the object whichever IOC created. Earlier I used to put ID, if you guys remember. If I have student class student ID, instead of IDs I don't have now. Just with stereotypes I created, I don't know what is the ID which is created. So as I don't know the ID, I'm asking container. Hey container, I don't know ID, but I know the class name. It is Karens.class. For this class, if you have any object, please give it to me. I'm asking my IOC container, please provide that object to me. As this object it is creating, it will provide it to you. Just we are doing simple testing, right? With the main method, that's why I'm getting it. In real time, you never get any object using application context like this. The entire flow will happen from front end to back end to front end. Okay, but to show you manually, right, to call this car class method, I'm using this get bean method to get the object. Okay, but yeah, this is the way that I can get the object. If I need engine object, I can call get bean of engine. It will give you engine object. If I need fuel, I can call get bean of fuel. It will give you fuel object. Same way, let's create battery class, or let me duplicate it. No fuel. KVs or megawatts? KVs only, right? Kilowatts batteries they are adding 50 kV, 100 kilowatts. So battery class wanted to connect with the motor class. Now this motor will connect with the charging car like Tesla EV. Let me put, or we have many EVs in India as well. MG, Aster. EV. Auto wire with motor. That's it. This flow also done. No configuration in XML file. I can go to here and I can ask my container give me mgaster object. I can call start car. Container happily it will create battery object, fuel object, engine object, motor object, currents object, mgaster object. Starting car, starting engine with the fuel petrol. Again starting car, starting motor with power 50 kV. All your flows happily it is executing without any confusions. Okay, so this is how auto wiring is performed. In XML way, how we do auto wiring, we will see. Okay, basically that is not too important, but for interview sake, you need XML way of auto wiring also. This is the actually auto wiring nowadays we are performing. Okay, with stereotype. I'll show you back approach. Earlier I used to give that XML approach and I used to teach this, but as this is important, I want to go through this context first to make you realize how we do, you know, before this stereotypes. So easily you will understand how bad that was. Not bad. That's how initially we used to do dependency injection. There will be some challenges and we will discuss that challenges as well in the Monday session. Okay. These two sessions are very, very important. Yesterday's one and today's one. Okay. Please go through this video at least twice this weekend. Yeah, yeah. Go through this video at least, you know, once this weekend and do these examples also. Everything is available for you. Okay. So please practice it. Again, I'm telling you, any doubts, right? If you have any doubts, connect with me. Don't hesitate. You can connect with me for silly doubts also. Okay. Yeah. This is also uploaded. You can get it and practice it. Okay. Very important. These two. Okay.